In this video, I'm gonna share my wish list for 2021. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer and a Lumix ambassador. And today, when I publish this video, it's the 2nd of January 2021. So I wish the very best Happy New Year to all of you. And in this video, I'm gonna share my wish list for 2021. This wish list of mine includes some camera gear, of course, but I'm gonna start with something else that is much more important than any camera gear, in my opinion. And my wish is that we could start doing things that we took granted before this pandemic hit us. And I really wish also that I could travel again. I don't have a burning desire to travel because I've been privileged enough in my life to travel quite a bit, but I still wish I could start traveling or at least start planning some like realistic trips that I could make. I have certain places that I'd like to visit for the first time, and I have certain places that I'd like to revisit. But if I can't travel to those destinations, then I'm happy to stay where I am and I'm not going anywhere. But having just said that, I really don't think this year is the year for traveling yet. I'm a bit pessimistic about that. I think that this year is going to be more like a recovery year, and the next year, 2022 is going to be the year for traveling earliest, in my opinion, unfortunately. But I still wish we could resume back to some sort of normal life as soon as possible. And the next is about computers and workflow. I recently got rid of my laptop computer, which was also my only computer, and I got a desktop computer instead because I haven't really been using my laptop as a mobile device for a long time. But I hope I can get an iPad as my mobile device this year, and I wish I can learn more about post-processing on an iPad, especially video editing. I've done a lot of photo editing on my phone, which is basically the same thing as doing it on an iPad, but the iPad has a bigger screen, of course. But I haven't done much video editing on any mobile device because, okay, the phone is just too small for that, and I don't have an iPad. So I wish I can learn to do video editing and proper workflow, mobile workflow using an iPad, because I believe it's the mobile workflow of the future. And I also would like to hear if you are using an iPad or similar device for your video editing or photo editing. Please let me know, comment and your experiences down below. I'd really like to hear about that. And then my camera wishes for 2021. My first wish is that the much rumored Lumix GH6 would finally come out. That would be the camera to replace the G9 and also the GH5. And when that camera finally comes out, I hope it's gonna have a brand new sensor. Because all the current Micro Four Thirds cameras, even the latest models, regardless of the brand, I believe they use some variation of the same relatively old 20 megapixel sensor. I don't think we need so much more pixels, but we need better sensor performance in general. Micro Four Thirds is lagging behind the competition in that regard. Of course, the camera also needs to have a competitive feature set when it comes to photo and video. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'm sure Panasonic will take care of that and the camera will be competitive whenever it comes out. And also bear in mind that I don't know anything about the possible future products, even though I'm a Lumix ambassador. This is just me wishing and thinking out loud and saying my opinion. And about the full frame cameras, I'm quite happy as they are, the Lumix lineup that is. But if I can wish something, I wish they would come up with another S5 camera or something similar form factor, small, light and compact with the awesome viewfinder from the S1 and S1R. And I also wish they would come out with another version with a higher resolution sensor, maybe the 47 megapixel sensor on the S1R or something similar. But those are not urgent wishes, just something that I wish because I can. And then there's one improvement I'd like to see on the audio side of cameras, how they record the audio. I'd like to see so-called 32-bit floating point audio included on every camera. That would be equivalent to a raw photo format that would have something like 100 stops of dynamic range, and you'd be able to recover whatever over or underexposed areas in your picture however you like. Most cameras today record 16-bit audio, which has a theoretical dynamic range about 96 decibels. But the 32-bit floating point audio has a dynamic range of about 1500 decibels, so it can record every possible sound that can be produced on Earth without any distortion. So you don't have to set any audio levels, you can just record whatever sound and it would never distort, and it's fully recoverable however loud or however silent the sound is. That sounds awesome, and it would be a really big help, especially for people like me who work alone, and especially when I'm shooting or filming video outside. I wouldn't have to worry about the audio levels at all. They would always be perfect. There are some separate audio devices that can record 32-bit floating audio, 32-bit floating point audio, but those separate devices are also one more pain in the butt when you are filming outside alone. You forget to turn them on and off, and then you'd have to sync the audio in post, and there are so many things that can go wrong when you have too many separate devices. So it would be nice to have that super audio quality built into the camera, so I would have the audio and video file all in the same file. And then my lens wish list for 2021. My first wish is that Panasonic would update some of their excellent Micro Four Thirds prime lenses with weather sealing. And the lenses that I'm talking about are the Nocticron 42.5mm f1.2. This is an excellent lens, but unfortunately doesn't have weather sealing. And another lens would be the 12mm f1.4, which I don't have. And the third lens would be the 15mm f1.7 prime lens. That is also an excellent compact lens, but it lacks weather sealing. So it would be really truly awesome to see these prime lenses updated with a weather sealing, so they would be more competitive and also more confidence inspiring to use in bad weather. And for example, here where I live in Helsinki, Finland, it rains a lot, even snows sometimes. So it would be really nice to have also these primes weather sealed. And then about the full frame lenses, but I don't have many wishes there. I think the Lumix lineup is looking pretty good at the moment from my point of view. Especially now that the new relatively compact and more affordable f1.8 prime lenses are on their way. Those lenses, of course, are the 24mm, 35mm, 50 and 85mm primes, all with the maximum aperture of f1.8. My only wish is that they would also make a 28mm f1.8 with the same form factor. That would really be awesome, and then the lineup would be pretty complete. And that's it. Those are all my big wishes for 2021. But what about you? What kind of gear would you like to see coming up this year? Please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.